My name is Ed Stassen. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Learning Resources, Inc., which is based in the suburbs of Chicago. We sell educational toys all over the world. I've been in this role for over 8 years. The journey to deploying a new ERP, so it's about a 3-year journey going back to the point where we decided we had to replace our existing platform. We spent a year looking at products throughout, all the products that were out there throughout the world, basically trying to boil it down to, the handful that we felt would best meet our needs. We basically boiled it down to just a couple, D365 being one of them. And, we ran multiple demos of the software, as well as had to pick, the right partner, right implementation partner. We interviewed quite a few and had them involved eventually. Yeah. So that was 18 months just to, select D365 as the right product, and then to, select an implementation partner. We planned on a March 1st go live. We wound up with a May 2nd go live, but that delay, you can point directly to just the inefficiencies that we ran into in the first year because of the having to do so much remotely. The go live itself has been very successful. It's definitely had bumps in the road, but we're 6 weeks past the go live date right now, or maybe 7 weeks, I guess now. The business processes are running very effectively, and we have the normal cleanup that we still have to continue to do probably over the next, month or two. But at this point, things are running well, and so we're very pleased with how it's gone overall. As we were launching the project, we knew we didn't have anyone who was a D365 expert in-house. So part of the original plan was to bring in, I guess I'll call it someone who was an expert in D365, sort of from a generalist standpoint, had experience across the product. You were the one who helped us find that individual. He's a fantastic fit. So we knew we needed one person in-house, and as we got into it, of course, when we selected D365, it was our warehousing operations that drove that selection. We knew that was the most sophisticated part of the business. And as we got into it, we realized, it would make sense to actually bring in someone with warehouse expertise as well. So we went out and you helped us find someone who specialized in the warehouse side of D365. And they came in, I guess 6-8 months into the project, as that sort of dawned on us that we really needed a second person. What drove it was all the turnover that you saw happening in consulting, these consulting firms in particular. So our engagement partner was, suffering, the challenges of people, leaving. And we sort of saw that and knew that we needed to bring more resources in-house to protect ourselves from the turnover that they were experiencing. So without those two resources, we would have never been able to go live when we did. I mean, they were absolutely instrumental, and the depth of knowledge they had, in D365, and the other gentleman in warehouse in particular, had a huge, again, just paid huge dividends. I mean, literally the week they started, they were adding value, and so they played a crucial role in the implementation for sure. And they were just tremendous fits. They fit culturally, they fit the technical needs. You did a great job of efficiently bringing both of those people to us. I mean, we only interviewed a few people in both cases. All the candidates were good, and these individuals were the best. So couldn't be more pleased with the role that they've played, which has been, again, crucial to getting to go live and being successful in cleaning up all the challenges post go live in these first 7 weeks. We're actually typically very successful in recruiting people straight off of our own, postings on our website, and we have, an internal recruiter. But I kind of suspected that these roles were way too specialized for us to be able to, bring in on our own. And so that's exactly what happened. We said we're going to give this 6 or 8 weeks, and after 6 or 8 weeks, we couldn't. There was no one who they just couldn't find these, the types of people we were looking for. They didn't have the network, obviously, which is what you obviously have. You've got a very deep network with the whole D365 marketplace. And so it was definitely night and day when we said, okay, this is never going to work on our own. And we found you, and again, you're very efficient in bringing, again, the right people to us. And therefore, when we went to look for the supply chain D365 person, we wasted no time. I just said, call Ryan, he'll find us somebody, and you did right away. So we learned our lesson after the first attempt that we really needed somebody who had a really deep network in this arena to be able to bring the right folks in. I think there's no question that the sizzle pack approach that you have is very effective and had a big impact on finding people quickly who, we're a very mission-driven business, and so it's critical to us to find people who align with the mission, who want to work in an environment like this. All the folks who came were able to appreciate and understand that before we ever even spoke to them, and so that was sort of that was a great screen up front. And I absolutely agree that the way the whole job market is and the way people think about jobs today, most people care a lot more about what kind of an environment they're going to work in than they might have in the past. And so that approach allowed us to definitely show people what the environment was like, what the people were like that they were going to work for. And so, I thought that was very valuable. I've worked with many of the biggest recruiting firms there are, like Spencer Stewart and Korn Ferry and Heidrick and Struggles. I've been recruited through them. I've done recruiting with them in the past, and your approach is absolutely as effective as any of theirs has ever been that I've seen. So in working with you on this, it's just like working with a top recruiting agent out of Spencer Stewart. You're very efficient, and your approach obviously is excellent. We've recruited 3 people now. They're all perfect with you. They're all great fits. They're doing a wonderful job. It's been a very efficient approach, and I really appreciate that. Well, I guess my advice is that you are the right person to go to for sure. And there's no question that no matter what implementation partner you might have, one of the most important things in a successful implementation is that as time goes on, your organization is able to take over complete ownership of the product, right? Because the implementation partners ultimately go away, and the in-house expertise is essential with D365. And so because, it's basically because every business is unique, right? These platforms are generic. No matter what you do, even if there's not a lot of customization, there's absolutely an incredible amount of configuration that has to be done to make these products work for your own business. And so, implementation partners can only go so far in understanding the business and being able to tune these products to the business. And so, ultimately having people on your staff who can support, the product going forward is essential, along with the fact that, implementation partners are incredibly expensive. So it's a much more cost-efficient approach, especially on an ongoing basis, to have experts in-house who are able to support the product And so, therefore, my advice is like, you definitely want to make sure you've got people on staff that can support the product. And there's no question that you've got the connections to find exactly what these people need when it comes to D365 technical support.